Episode 468. While the undercover agents were still piecing together that flash of insight, a blast of cannon fire erupted from the guardian demon god's body. Lord Grimm didn't retreat like the left flank spies. After pressing his attack a few more times, right after that burst of artillery fire, the guardian demon suddenly spun around. In countless minds, only 2 words drifted past, just as expected. Then, the spies on the right flank met the same fate. They chased after the guardian demon's back, unleashing a furious assault, but Windward Mist became the line they simply could not cross. It's all so simple. You could be a new player to Glory, but you've at least made it to level 30. As long as you're human, there's no reason you can't do something this basic. The spies felt a chill of dread. They realized they were about to fight this battle for free. In a situation like this, there's no way they'll die, unless Lord Grimm and Windward Formation make a mistake. But we've already seen their skills before. Then, as they alternated, they demonstrated precise aggro control, pulling the guardian demon god back and forth between the 2 teams with flawless timing. If the fight keeps going like this, we might not even need the cleric's heals. It was only now that everyone was truly stunned. On the surface, they maintained their composure, but their private chat channels were in absolute chaos. They couldn't even die if they wanted to. To have such absolute control over the field, just who the hell are these 2? In the end, the players who had no idea who these 2 were found their suspicions deepening even further. But without solid proof, imagining an online gamer as a top-tier pro player was still beyond the average player's wildest dreams. The more familiar a player was with Glory, the less likely they were to make such a bold assumption. Every spy sent here was a seasoned veteran. Yet, after all their mental gymnastics, none dared to guess the true identities of these 2. Everyone still held onto a sliver of hope. After all, the demands for controlling the fight were far too strict. The slightest slip in aggro management could lead to a wipe, and losing aggro has always been the #1 cause of a total party kill. If things really got that chaotic, it'd be easier to just play dumb and pretend to be dead. Only the players who knew their true identities, Blue River and a few others, were already feeling a sense of despair. Who are these 2? They're the duo that's won Best Partners in the Glory Pro League for years running. A duo like that would be a disgrace to their title if they made a mistake against a mere NPC. Already despairing, Blue River received a message from another player who had also infiltrated the guild. The other player was still patiently analyzing the situation. Lord Grimm's true identity was known only to the higher-level core members of Bluebrook Guild. It was the fear that, when facing this rival, he'd often be gripped by the urge to shrink back. Blue River was now completely consumed by this feeling, yet he had no way to share it with his brothers. Seeing everyone still patiently waiting for an opening, he steeled his heart and decided to hope for a miracle as well. That's right. In Blue River's eyes, expecting these 2 to make a mistake was the same as expecting a miracle.
Attack, retreat, attack, retreat.
The commands Lord Grimm was issuing were basically that simple. For their attacks, they had him and Windward Formation as guides. For their retreats, they had Soft Mist and Steamed Bun Invasion to lead the way. With these 2 not making any mistakes, and with everyone getting the hang of things after a few rounds, making an error started to feel downright embarrassing. A miracle. It's something that's extremely difficult to happen. That's what makes it a miracle. Blue River was hoping for a miracle, but most people still held that ordinary mindset. In their minds, it would be a miracle if such precise maneuvers could continue without a single slip-up. And so, the guardian demon god's life force continued to slip away, segment by segment. Those who hoped for a miracle never saw it. Yet those who feared one were forced to watch it unfold, piece by piece. The undercover agents had long since stopped idly waiting for the 2 to make a mistake. They began taking more proactive measures, attacking as wildly as they dared, trying to force an aggro break themselves. At first, those pulling these little stunts were afraid Lord Grimm would notice and call them out, so they didn't dare keep acting like idiots and causing trouble. As a result, their actions were never stopped. In a way, everyone got to live out a DPS dream, to unleash their attacks without a single thought for aggro. Yet Lord Grimm and Windward Formation's control over the aggro never faltered. The 2 of them continued to drag the guardian demon back and forth, one on the left and one on the right. In the end, The undercover agents realized that their wild attempts to mess with the aggro only served to hasten the guardian demon's demise. Not a single one of them had come with that intention. Seeing they couldn't disrupt the aggro, they immediately abandoned the plan. Fighting fast left them frustrated, but fighting slow risked blowing their cover and raising suspicion. The undercover agents were caught in a bind, damned if they did and damned if they didn't. After another stretch of this back and forth, it became clear the battle was nearly over. Lord Grimm and Windward Formation's coordination was flawless, with no mistakes in sight. The spies from the various guilds had been communicating privately all this time, reporting the situation up the chain. Blue River also noticed the QQ discussion group was buzzing like a whirlwind, with the battle shifting left and right. He had a moment to spare and took a quick glance, but before he could make sense of it, a message had already popped up in the game. The discussion group came to a decision rather quickly. The directive from above was clear. They had plenty of spies embedded. Sacrificing one or two was acceptable. They had to strike a blow against the Happy Guild's unstoppable momentum. They needed to show the players of the 10th server that even Happy could hit a wall. The specific plan was this: select an agent, have them deliberately cause chaos and disrupt the operation at the cost of exposing their identity, and use the ensuing confusion to engineer a total party wipe. In the end, since both Bluebrook Guild and Tyrannical Ambition had 4 spies infiltrated, they each decided to step up and sacrifice one of their own. After receiving the order, Blue River mentioned it to the 3 others who had infiltrated with him. To his surprise, all 3 of them were scrambling to volunteer for the job. As the guild leader, Blue River had to maintain a certain decorum. He couldn't exactly fight his subordinates for the spot. Besides, he knew this spy account was just temporary. You couldn't dual client in Glory, and he still had his main character to manage. What kind of guild leader personally goes undercover anyway? In the end, Blue Brook Guild rolled the dice to pick their sacrificial lamb. Tyrannical Ambition decided their candidate in a similar fashion. After another round of communication with the higher-ups, the order came down: begin immediately.